Greetings, hello, welcome everyone. Welcome to DevChatter. It is Saturday afternoon for me, sounds like evening for some others. And if we have anyone that it's morning for, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are in the world, welcome. Hopefully you're all having a fantastic weekend so far. We're right in the middle of it, and I think that makes for a great time to do a little bit of coding. So, I thought about asking people in advance, but figured I would hop in here and I will ask the question. So, we have been working on our DevStreams project, and for anyone who is new, first off, welcome. Glad you're here and decided to stop by. I will mention that all the projects that we do here on the stream we actually keep out on GitHub, and even some of the side stuff we do is out there as well. So you can find some of the katas and other things like that that we've worked on at github.com/devchatter. I figured I'd mention that. So we have a couple of options for what we can code today. So I have a nice blank slate up here for us as a starting point, and one of the things we could do today, and I'm gonna try and get people's opinions on this. We can either work still on our DevStreams project here, which is our community-based website that we're building that we want to have as both a place for developers to, write some fun code, but also as a location for us to go to find other information about developer streams. Coded Beard, I'm not going to finish converting a WinForms app. I assume you're converting to .NET Core. At least I hope that's what you're converting with a WinForms app. And then the other option is, so I was on Twitter and people are talking about it being like National Pizza Day or National Bagel Day here. In I don't know if any of the rest of the world actually observes either of those non-holidays that people have fun with. But one other option was we could just come up with some stupid pizza kata and just do that. So that's the options. Or we can either do something like that. Maybe we calculate pizza sizes, do like a pizza calculator thing where you make a little website where someone, can price out pizzas based on like crust variants and things like that. So we could do that. And then the other option is this one, which is we continue working on our C#, ASP.NET, JavaScript, Vue.js app, and maybe you can even convert a couple more things to using Dapper, and maybe we can even do it the right way. I say that only because we did the simple case, and I want to do some basic CRUD with Dapper that we're not doing yet in this project. So that's what I was thinking. Hey, Coding for You, welcome. Thanks for that follow, much appreciated. And you want us to stream Vue and ASP. Sounds good. Yeah, we can keep doing that then. Because that's what we have been doing. Although the funny thing being that if I did the pizza thing, I'd probably do it in Vue anyway. So, because I actually think it would work really well for that little pizza calculator. Hey, Plutonin, welcome. So, glad to see people are here and showing up. We are... so, what is this? CSS. That's hilarious. Thanks, thing. I almost want to be like, please don't count the CSS. That's not the majority of our project. When you include full themes, there's more CSS in the beginning than anything else. Okay. So until someone tells me otherwise, I'm going to assume that we're going to work on our DevStreams project unless people start clamoring for the... yes, exactly. CSS project. Unless people start clamoring for the pizza kata. So I will start here, and if people really want us to do that one, we can switch to it. Alright. Here goes. I'm gonna pull up the documentation on Dapper so we can reference that and make sure that we do things correctly. Is that an official tutorial? I don't know. Or did someone just go and pull a website? Where are the basic CRUD operations? Cool. I know you have a get by ID thing that's like super simple that I don't remember what the call is for it because I didn't use you for like 3 years or something. when you don't use a tech stack for when you don't use a piece of tech for like 3 years, you forget all the names of all the things. You remember that they have a thing for that, but remembering the name is impossible. Dapper crud. It's in the extensions. Okay, cool. There you go. Yeah, dapper.simplecrud. You're saying etc is in this for it? All right, I'm just gonna go mess with that real fast, and we'll take a look at the code and see what we end up with. So you're saying if I'm over here, I can just say let's see what the namespaces are. Dapper dot. Oh, it's there. I shouldn't have put it there. That was foolish of me. Didn't think about that. I might rename that to Dapper ORM instead of Dapper. So we'll see. Which one is it? Dapper extension? Ah, CRUD extension methods. There we go. Perfect. Dapper contrib. That one? Ah, yes, this one. Yeah, S&B uses Dapper. Oh, that's so funny. It won't do that. Okay, so we're going to go to Dapper contrib, which is right in here. Which is this one. This is the one we included. Now the question is, do they have... Contrib get. Okay, there we go. I think that's the one we want. Hey Rubik's, welcome. Greetings and hype. 8 month, nice. That is awesome. Another one of those almost at 9 month resubs. Very, very cool. Thanks and glad to have you here. Let's take a look at this. So I'm going to do public async task. This isn't where it's going to live. I'm just writing this because this will give me a way to check it. Get by ID, int ID. We're going to do this. We're going to say using see connection underscore db settings dot default connection string. There we go. And we're going to say connection string dot get async using an extension tag. Pull it out as a tag. The ID is going to be ID. Yeah, sorry, Rubik's. I did not just copy that line. Return, await that. So that gets one based on that. Now, what I'm wondering about is how does it know the table name? How is there not, like, documentation just on this? Is this the actual official documentation for this? Dapper contrib. Get. Yep, that's the one. Exactly like that. That's what we want. So they want you to use data annotations in order for it to work, so I would have to define the table name on the actual model object, which I can do. That's actually a good point. I should be using this interface, not the actual SQL connection right here, because I can. So if I do that, and it just gives me basic CRUD methods on those, and as long as I've defined the table and the key, the basics are there. So are these Dapper data annotations? Or are these the general ones? I wonder. Yeah, Rubik's, we're messing with database stuff, and welcome. Their color scheme is similar to mine, but I mean, it's just black and, like, gray. I mean, that's like is a pretty standard color scheme. The exact color of red and gray and everything probably don't match, though there are a limited number of colors, so it is possible. Okay, so they're suggesting that in order to do this, I would need data annotations. Now the question is, can I define, do I actually have those, and are they theirs? At which point, we get into weird territory. Reference Dapper contrib. Okay, so it's Dapper contrib that makes these work. So then I get the question, am I willing to let Dapper contrib into my core project? Classic is always the best, unless it's ASP. Classic ASP is not as bad as we yell at it about. It was good for the time. Good for the time. Many things are. Because I still get I get a little annoyed with one thing, that we developers like to rewrite history in some ways, because we like to claim that that MVC type coding is when we were able to start unit testing and building these structures that, you know, have the dependencies in the right direction, and that it was all the forms' fault. Web forms was the reason why we couldn't do that. It's like, no, that's not the reason why. We just weren't disciplined enough to do it right. No, I don't want to include that because that's going to pull in too much stuff, I feel like, to pull that in there. How do we do this, then? If I have to define these annotations in order to do it. Coated Beard, I said for the time on that one. And web forms, the thing is, it wasn't easy to put all your dependencies in the right order, but the fact is that you could. Hang on. So if we're going to do this, they want us to actually use these annotations. If we do that, then we end up with this. So we end up with our data really tied in here to Dapper if we go this route and use Dapper contrib. I'm not sure if there is just an annotations assembly. Maybe. Yeah, well, let's try getting away with that. We won't actually reference the NuGet package. We'll just reference the assembly, which we'll see how that goes. Whoops, key. Don't. We'll try this. Tags. Okay, so if you have a computed property, you hide it away like that. Otherwise, all the properties are assumed to be on there. Our key is our ID, so let's see if it can handle this, because I put the key here. So we'll see how much we can confuse Dapper contrib and it still works. Because it does have that, it does have the annotation on it. Okay, so we have this. This is the tag search service, which I don't really want to have. Do I just hide the basic, the by ID CRUD operations? I'm not sure how I want to wrap these, so I want to make sure as we do this that we've got a good handle on dependencies. I don't want to have Dapper just strewn about if we can avoid it, but let's see where it ends up with. So let's create a CRUD repository. Let's see if we can make a generic CRUD repository, do nothing fancy with it, and just have it handle the basic stuff. So we'll try to model it roughly like our usual ones. So let's add a data folder inside of core with an interface that we will call an iRepository. I thought I typoed that. I did not. It will be a generic it will not be generic itself. It's going to have generic methods. And that is a discussion that is way too long to have today, that I've run into a million problems with in the past going the other way. Let's simplify. We'll extract to this. We already actually have the data, what I would call the data dependency bleed, came in automatically when we used ASP.NET Core's scaffold. So let's take a look at our page. I'm just going to go to the tag management pages, and we're going to start there. So let's go to the edit page, maybe? So we'll jump over here. Instead of pulling in this data context, let's pull in something else. We're going to pull in this, which is similarly bad. But I would argue less bad. There's DB settings, and there's our field. So this comes in. We need to get that. So this dependency we potentially want to get rid of, but for now, the way I'm going to deal with it is I'm going to make a little helper method. So we're going to add a helper method down to the bottom, and this is what's going to get extracted into whatever does our data work for us. Is data annotations possible because of reflection? Zoltralord, I'll say sort of. attributes as a concept, that is reflection-ish. That's just sort of the way that so annotations is implemented with attributes, and class attributes and method attributes are information that you can use reflection to get off of an object to be able to find out what it is. So that's the short answer there. So I want to write private tag get by ID int ID, and there is our private method that gets us this value, and all we need to do to use it is do this: jump over to here, steal this code that we already wrote over here, jump back over here, paste it in, make it private instead of public. And as I said, we'll extract it somewhere else, but the spot it just came from is not the correct one, and this is not the correct place for it either. But we want to have it, we want to start here and see where we can extract it to, because I think this is going to be the best way to think about it. So that will get us tag by ID, private async that. So we have access to DB settings because I pulled it in. So that means here, when we did our first or default, we're instead going to call our method and say get by ID. And I don't have to worry about just using the value here because we already did the null check immediately before that. So exactly, as S&B says, you make it work and then you make it good. You make it work, make it good, make it right, whatever you wanna call it. Okay. So this did like an attach the object that just came up bound, and then set its state to modified and save the changes, etc. I'm not sure if we want to do that route. Let's just do one of these. So that's get by ID. We're on the edit page, so we're going to make an update. Private async. Does this return anything? When they did it, they did that. Let me take a look at the CRUD operations again. Dapper contrib, get, insert, get all. So the only way to check if it's there would be to get it. To be honest, with a tag, I don't mind doing that because it's so small it doesn't really matter. At which point I'm not going to have tag exists. So this will be an async task that I don't know if it's going to have a return value yet. And the reason I say that is I don't know if the CRUD operation has a return value. So let's do this. We're going to grab the using again, put that there. We're going to do UpdateAsync. And it's a task of bool. Okay. So there we go. So we're going to return a Boolean value for whether or not this succeeded. And so what that means that we can do is we can do this. Instead of doing a try catch on the save changes, sounds like this, instead of throwing an exception, will return us back the Boolean value. So let's say... Actually, why am I even keeping this context piece here? If await update tag do that and return back to the page. Otherwise, and actually let's put that inside of the try catch. Will that update throw? I'm going to look at the update method and see if they say it will throw. It's got to be able to throw, right? Because it could be some kind of a SQL exception. But we're not handling it, and we're not logging it, so I'm going to remove the try catch because we aren't actually using it, so for now I think I'd rather have the exception. And down here we will have guess we'll return the not found. To do exception handling and logging. So if it can't find it, then we do that. This is bound, so it'll work like that. We get rid of some dependencies. This looks like it got shorter. Let's find out. Did it? No. That's hilarious. It is the exact same size. Oh, that's funny. Although these two methods aren't going to live here, so that might change things a little bit. So this basically becomes a CRUD wrapper that we almost want. So let's make that data folder. I'm going to make the iCrud repository, which hopefully will get the point across that it just does a, interface, derp, that it just does the basic CRUD operations. And the reason I want to do that is I kind of want to hide the SQL connection away and how we deal with that so that the dependency we have is this. Because this is easy to hide, and it's harder to hide the other one. So we're just going to wrap it in this for the simple CRUD operations. Anything more advanced, we'll put them in a different place. We'll handle them separately, and just probably use Dapper directly somewhere. So this needs to have a task of, let's steal from here. It's going to have that, and instead of get by ID, let's just call it get, because we know it's going to be by ID. Okay, and then this one's a task of bool, and these are not of like the tag part bits are going away, don't worry. That's going to be T, and that's going to be T, and this is going to be model. So that is update a task of T. Get what do you mean you can't resolve T? Of course you can resolve T. What do you mean? Okay, so there is our basic CRUD repository. It does not know about any model objects. It is super, super simple. We could put a where on here that these have to be data entities, but I'm not going to just yet. Let's say data access. Hey, Crimson. Greetings, welcome.
Developers.
Hey! Welcome, James and friends. Greetings. Raid defenses definitely need to be activated here. Hang on, we got the hype coming in. I think that ought to cover us. We've got our hype shield in place. Greetings, welcome everyone. Hello, hello. Hopefully you're enjoying your Saturday. Alright, you know what? I don't have enough stuff in here yet, so rather than coming up with what the structure is for this, I am actually just going to put this right in the root of this, and we're going to hide all of our CRUD operations in there. And welcome, greetings, thanks for that follow, and thanks for the raid, everyone. Hopefully you're having a good one. We're doing some ASP.NET Core and C# stuff today, probably a little bit of JavaScript, and we are mostly doing our conversion to Dapper. And if you're wondering why we're doing Dapper, well, it's because we use EF Core for all of our other projects, and we thought, you know what, let's go use Dapper. I haven't used it in a few years. I always liked using it in the past because I thought it worked pretty well. It is used by, and I believe created by, a company called a company that makes a website called Stack Exchange, which of course you have heard of, being developers. So we're gonna go ahead and public that, and then these become the pieces that we need in here. This needs that constructor that we put elsewhere, so we're gonna steal this as well. And then once we steal all this code out of there, we're basically doing an extraction. So for anybody that watches my stream on a regular basis, I'm sure that you know. Nice, awesome, James. Thank you for gifting those 5 subs to our viewers. Much appreciated. No more. That's awesome. That's pretty good. Hopefully everyone here loves this song, because we're going to hear it a few more times. And and thanks, James. Appreciate it. Have a good one too. I'm sure Ace Flameseer will be thrilled from that one. And thanks for the follows as well, everyone. I know, plenty of what is love in here. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. And Crimson's gonna keep that going, apparently, with his 11-month resub. And Teddy, thank you for that follow, much appreciated. We do like to have fun in here. Yeah, 11 months, S&B, yeah. Hey, Greendolf, you got 9 months. There's the there's the Twitch baby. Yeah, I haven't made one. I need a subtrain thing. As many of you know, one of the big reasons why I needed why I really want to get the Twitch partner status at some point is that I really want to get a SubEmote. I love SubEmotes. They're really good. Because I use those on other people's channels. I like SubEmotes. They're the best, because they're kind of derpy and everybody gets what they are. It's like, it's like, oh yeah, it's a thing, it's cool, I like it. Okay, so we're using this here. We don't need these anymore. I just extracted them. Goodbye, code. Deleting code, that's my favorite. We need an iCrud repository here. iCrud repository. Don't worry about the name. We just need we just needed a thing here, and that works. Don't let the word repository scare you off either. This is literally just for this. And anyone that's seen my code bases before knows that I don't do a standard repository. I use a I actually usually use one that a lot of people would realize is practically like slightly implementing your own micro ORM like layer kind of thing, because it has that level of extensibility. So that's that's the thing. Oh, that was a derp triggered by failing on Hangman. What was the thing? Team City, and we're gonna get S&V not a word again. Yeah. And greetings, welcome everyone. Glad to see you're all here. Hello, Angelo. Greetings. Why would you implement your own ORM when you could use the ORM I implemented? Yeah, so the reason, Greendolf, is that we aren't really implementing an ORM. We don't want to do anything that's all that full. What we want to do is we want to have a pretty easy layer to mock out. And the idea is that the idea is that we want to be able to swap it if we need to, and we want to be able to limit our exposures. So the amount of complexity that often comes in our ORMs lets us do a lot of things, but it also sometimes makes them hard to test, which is why I like to find the balance of implementing something that just directly uses your ORM, because to not do so would be convoluted and complex. At which point, yes, use your ORM directly. But for the simple operations, I find it's much better to put something in the way. So, and just kind of wrap around it. So that's the idea. Zunjin, yeah, if you want to hop in the rock paper scissors game, just it's exclamation mark RPS to do rock paper scissors. Okay, and actually I'm going to shorten this name because I want to. Repo. Sure. So repo.get tag .update, and it'll take in a tag, and boom, code extracted from here. That is called directly from the client side, and that is simpler, and I like it better than what we had. So there is improvement number 1 on that code. Did I ever run the site? I don't remember if I ever ran the site. I feel like running it over here though, because I'm weird. So .net run watch project. Okay. I might switch to VS Code. If we do some JavaScript stuff, there's a good chance I'll switch to that. Whoop. Build error, hang on. What's the build error? Dapper could not be found in which file? Data entity? Oh, I bet we have a version conflict or something. We might have a version conflict. Let's do a quick build here. I bet that's it. What? No, it just did something weird. Okay, cool. Let's see. Also, hello. Oh, yeah, you're in the Snowpocalypse. Awesome. Yeah, when places that aren't used to... so I had this conversation with someone on Twitter that was remarking that basically Seattle shuts down if there's any snow, despite not being that far south. Which, you know, not getting into the weather reasons for why that city works the way it does. Because that's a complicated conversation for this, but... without jumping into that, it's kind of interesting. First time I was in Seattle, so I'm from a place where we do get a lot of snow. I noticed something weird, and I asked people about it. I asked about, so, you know on streets how there are often reflectors that help you see the edges of the streets as well as, like, the median between the two sides of the lane? They were raised when I was in Seattle and like, cities around Seattle. And that confused me, because I was kind of like, wait a minute, what? How's that? Like, how can you have raised stuff up above the level of the ground? Because where I am, we have plows all the time, and if anything is raised, you need, like, warning signs. So, like, literally, if there is a raised edge even, like, slightly that your car would just go over and you'd totally ignore, there's a big warning sign telling the plow trucks to raise the plow so they don't, like, rip a bridge apart or a part of a street or something like that. So if you have, like, bumps intentionally sticking up on your street, you can't plow at all. So it's kind of a funny one. Snow, it's like rain, but just awkwardly hangs out for a while. Yeah, exactly, Greendale. That's a good explanation. So I just thought that was kind of funny, because, like, I'm like, wow, yeah, I guess they don't get snow here, was kind of my thinking. I'm like, that's so weird. I'm not used to this. Alright, so we're going to head over here, manage tags. Hey, Twitchlove, with the 7-month resub. Welcome. The follow apocalypse, yes. And welcome. If anyone here hasn't hit that follow button and wants to, feel free. Yeah, 7 months of a Prime sub. That's pretty good. I met the person who gets my Twitch Prime sub has been getting it for, like, I don't know, like more than a year. Yes, as James mentioned, mash the follow button. Let's try this. So this is first going to use the old one. What tag do we need? Let me think about this. TypeScript, English. You know what? We have a lot of German speakers in our channel. For streams where the streamer speaks German. There we go. Boom! Okay, cool. So that was our does this actually work? Which the answer is no. So as you'll recall, on Thursday when I was doing this, the first step that I did when adding a new thing that I was using a dependency for, I immediately went and added in that dependency in our list, which for now we're just using the basic one. So we're using the built-in ASP.NET Core IOC container, not our custom one yet. But we will be, eventually. And now... do I need to make these async here? Oh, I didn't, Actually, I know what the problem is. That's the problem. Get T model. I copied these. I didn't actually fix them. That's what I get for not paying attention for a moment. Get async this, return that. Wait, what? They might need a restriction on what T can be. Yeah. They need me to specify that T has to be a class here, which means that, whoops, that's also T, which doesn't need to be specified there. But this does mean that I need the restriction on what T can be. Now we're not matching this. So they want T to definitely be a class. So there we go. Which I'm fine with that restriction. That restriction's totally okay. Having a restriction down to that being a class, not a big deal. Oh, that's not going to build because I've got the project running. Unless I can kill this in time. Did I save it? Yes, I saved it. Woohoo! Was I not calling the UpdateAsync one? You might be right. I might not have been calling that. Which I should have been. Hang on. 1 second. I need to jump over to here and take a look. Because you might be right. I might have forgotten to call that one when we were just wiring that up. Task, await, update async. I call it right there. Update async. T not tag. Oh, maybe you guys were telling me about those when I was fixing it. And I'm just seeing that late. Cool. Good. So all I did was miss that. That's fine. Alright, so it's complaining that it doesn't know how to get database settings, and it is totally right. I don't know how to get database settings because I didn't do it right. I need to go over here, and we are going to steal our last code that I deleted and put it right back. Because I need to jump over to our tag search service, and it will show me how we do it. And we get the settings like this. There we go. Now it'll work. Okay, so quick explanation for anyone who has not seen how this works. Within ASP.NET Core, they built in a couple of things. So first off, before this point, most of the time when you were dealing with an ASP.NET technology, whether it be web forms, MVC, etc., you could always wire in your own IOC container. Totally a thing, whole time. In fact, I used to do it in web forms all the time. Everything I did was in IOC, and there were actually some cool tricks for getting it so that your runtime code was run separately, because web forms actually had some ways to connect up your dependencies at runtime separately from everything else. So there were a lot of cool tricks for that. Now they have built it in as a first-class citizen. It runs by default. So if you're using even the basic template, they've included an IOC container in there. That is actually what is happening inside of the startup of your web project. When they do the configure services, they give you services, and you can just add services in. Here's what we did. We added in a configuration settings. That is a config section. So by saying configure this class and telling it that this is the section from our configuration to use, what it will actually do is it will attempt to find this structure in the root of this section that I told it about. It'll see if this section matches this structure. If it does, it will automatically wire up those properties. In order then to get access to these inside of my code, what I have to do is I tell it, hey, I've got an options thing, it's of this type. So options are sort of what it calls like they call them options. I would much rather this be like settings or something like that. They're thinking like, yeah, you've chosen your options for how you want it to run. I think of it as settings, but that's just me. So hence my name being database settings, not database options. I don't think I mentioned it. Gumshoe Noir, thanks for that follow, and Eric and James as well. And I know I said hi to Angelo, and Mortel, welcome, thanks for that follow, much appreciated. So anyway, so that was how that's wired up, and then this one wired up the same way. So this constructor is never called, it's only called by the IOC container. Okay. Now that that's out of the way and explained and everybody gets how I got that data, let's see if this runs. So first things first, let's give the site a quick restart because it was not playing super nicely there for a moment. So we'll give it a restart, we'll let it do its thing, and then we'll see if this rebuilds and gives us everything we want. Everything we've always dreamed of, which is, hey, it loaded it. Okay, so that means our get worked. We pulled it and its data. And I'll just put an exclamation point. We'll see an exclamation point. Hey, it edited it. Cool, and we'll edit it back. So I'm just going to assume that that probably works. Since we don't have an integration test layer yet, I really should get one of those in this project. There are a couple of infrastructure pieces I haven't set up yet that we need to... Okay, so we made a package reference here. How did the other one reference it? This one made a reference to the packages net standard. It made it to that library specifically. Alright, we'll let that one go. Okay, so that seems to work. I am actually, within this commit, I'm going to get the CRUD operations for tag out of the way. So, and we'll do that as one commit, basically switching the CRUD operations, which is a bigger commit than I usually like to do, but I don't see a great spot to cut it otherwise, other than maybe adding the dependencies, which I guess I could get away with. Yeah, I guess we'll put in the dependencies separately, and then everything else together. So we'll add just this and this, which adds in the Dapper contrib. So we'll say add Dapper contrib, and this are the annotations for it. Gumshoe Noir, was that your notification? I don't know which thing you're talking about. There wasn't a notification for a bit. So I'm guessing if you heard a beep or something like that, I think it was on your end. I didn't hear one on mine. Okay, so that can go in, and then this is adding in the repository, which actually this can go in separately too, with no uses of it yet. And then before we switch to using it, we'll do this. Adding a CRUD repo for Dapper. There we go. Okay, so now that we have that in place, we're going to need our other CRUD operations. You heard a dink? I don't remember hearing a dink, but it's possible. My drinks don't make dink sounds either because I've got koozies on them. CRUD. Exactly, CRUD, which I called get instead of read. Let's take a look at the documentation on this because I want to take a quick look at the other operations. So insert, does it return? Yes, it does. Good. So this one, actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this line. I'm going to call this one create. Insert. Sure. So we'll have insert here, and then it's going to take in, instead of an int ID, it's going to take a T model, returns back the T, and then the last thing is on our delete. This bools? Okay, good. I usually want to have the bool there for the success of an operation, so I appreciate that. And it does take in the ID or the object when they call it. I think I want mine to take in the... So I kind of want to delete by ID rather than by object. Now they're creating an object and calling that on it. So let's do this. I'm gonna say class and new. So this might be funny thing. This might be new to people. Orblocks. Hey, welcome, greetings, hi. And I saw I'll say Fugas. Welcome. I saw you say crud a while ago. Orzblock, I'm betting you linked to something. Sorry about that. The Nightbot's kind of aggressive about that. How many hours a day do I program? Oh, geez, I have no idea. I don't know. Probably too many. A lot of people, it's too many. You're learning C#. I have no idea if that's a good source for learning it. Are you otherwise a programmer? Do you know other languages? Is C# your first one? So I'm adding this new restriction. So if you haven't seen this, this is the cool thing, everyone. So that I want to point out. So what we did here is I should specify. So the restriction that this Dapper contrib required that the object that we passed in, if we were going to maintain a generic version, they wanted us to absolutely always call this with classes. So we can add that restriction, that's fine. I am adding this restriction, which is that we need to have a constructor on this object. I want to have an empty constructor as a requirement on this object in order for it to be used as the T. So you can use any T you want as long as that T is both a class and has this empty constructor. And the reason I need this is because of what I'm about to do. So let's do this right here. I'm going to implement these last two methods that we need. I'm going to let the tooling just put them in here. So this one will leave throwing a not implemented exception, but I want to show you this one down here because it's the more relevant one. So I said it needs to have a new thing. This we're going to call DeleteAsync, and it's going to return a bool, so that's fine. We're going to do that. And the challenge is that it doesn't take... what is this? I'm passing in my model. Oh. When my tooling implemented these methods, it didn't add the async flag at the beginning. Yeah, no, exactly. So C#. Oh, awesome. So C#'s your first language. There are a lot of great resources for learning C# out on the internet. I don't know specifically about that website. SNB is correct. You could definitely take a look at some articles on Pluralsight. We have some intro videos that we did here on our channel, so if you check out our YouTube video, we have a playlist of some videos, and I'm going to go ahead and make that bot work. Anyway, we have some of those. Additionally, there is try.net, which is a good place for people that hang on. So if you are interested in learning C#, they have this stuff. The documentation that's officially from Microsoft actually has some pretty good C# stuff. Yeah, hang on, SNB, I'm talking instead of restarting the bot. I just want to give it a quick jolt. I'm sure there's some error somewhere that I did not go and fix that I should. So there's the bot back. And congratulations, you can go play the game. But link to the YouTube video there, the YouTube channel there, that's what it's called. So if you actually check out our YouTube channel, you will find a playlist of our Learn to Program in C# videos that we have a bunch of. So we have these as well that are follow-along videos if you're interested. Not that you'd have to watch those ones, but they do exist. So that's delete async model. I don't want to have this take model. I wrote that wrong. iCrud repository. Instead of taking a T model, I do still want the T restriction, but I want you to pass in the ID. Actually, I think I want both. That's the one that needs the restriction. This is the one that does not. There we go. So that does not need the restriction. I'm just going to duplicate this and pass in int ID, and then this is the one that needs the new restriction on it. So new in this, when used this way, just means that it has a constructor, so you can new it up. And yes, programmers do use that as a very common verb. We'll say to new things up, and that just means to construct one. So here's the reason why. I want to say new T. Ooh, I can't set its ID unless I also say that it is a data entity, which is going to be the next restriction on it. So I want it to be a data entity and I want it to be new, and being a data entity is going to override the need for it to be a class, because if it is a data entity, it is a class. Because if you're inheriting from that one, then it is. Nobody won! Ah, sorry everyone. Yeah, clearly the bot's rigged. ID equals ID. Because they don't have a version of this. Yeah, this does entity to delete. Yep. So I have to pass in an entity. So if I want to delete by ID, this is the way you do it. If you want to delete by model, this is the way you do it. Because I like the convenience of call the thing with the ID, because newing up an object and just passing the ID just to delete it seems weird to me. So I'm going to hide away that restriction that Dapper has on that. So this is what I mean when, like, I want this interface. I want to be able to call and just say, hey, delete this thing by ID. Dapper didn't do the interface that I wanted, so in order to get the interface I did, I have, you know, wrapped around it. Insert, delete, those are all tasks. These are async. This is not implemented. Let's implement. And these are the simplest little calls in the world because they are the just the CRUD operations. So the basic CRUD operations. Insert model. This returns back an int. Returns back the ID, not the object. You kidding me? What? Alright. Documentation, I'm gonna read you. What are you talking about? You really don't give me back the full object? You just give me back the int? Yep, gives you back the ID. Okay. Alright, that's fine. I like getting the object back, so we're gonna do that. We're gonna continue getting the object back the way that I want. I think, which means we might actually put this restriction on ours. So we're gonna make these aren't classes anymore. They're data entities. That's why we have it. And if you want that on anything else, then that's code we have to write elsewhere. For now, we're just going to take this restriction. We already have it in our system. It already understands that that is a concept. So we're going to do that, which means the ID is there. And this will get us... This is the ID. So So we're going to return back the model, and we are going to say model.id equals ID. So we're going to set that ID and return it back, and you will actually get the object back plus the set ID. Although if we do that, then any triggered stuff won't change. So alternately, we could ignore this entirely. Can I tell this not to return? No. Okay, in that case, I am going to do this. Connection.getAsync. T. And actually, pass the ID. Whoops, await that. And thanks, whoever followed. I will look over there in a sec. Sorry, I was in the middle of my thought. But welcome, greetings. That is Bunny Rabbit. Nice, I like that. That's good. And AI Squad, welcome, greetings. Thanks for those follows, much appreciated. Reading documentation, yes, of course, reading documentation. As I said on my last stream, no one should ever feel bad about that because real developers read documentation, they read Stack Overflow, they ask questions. Never feel bad about that. There are some pretty good C# books, and yes, as SMB mentioned, anything from the Head First series of books is usually pretty good. I do like that series a lot. Why do I want the object back? Dungeon Smasher. Can't you just put the ID back on your object you have? So I can. The reason I don't want to, in this case, is because so I like getting the object back because there are some times in code when you want to be able to use that object. The reason I want to just pull the object back right here is because sometimes, and not necessarily in this case, but sometimes in our code we'll have triggers and things like that that happen, that people will put on the database, things that change. So for example, when an object is updated in the database, sometimes we return back the object. I haven't put that on our update yet, but sometimes you'll have a database trigger for when an object was most recently updated, for example. And if you want to have that value be up to date, or when it was created and things like that. So if you want to have some of those values that are triggered or other things like that, the only way to do that is to pull it from the database again. So it's more of a safety in that sense. You don't need to do it. It's just the way I decided to make our interface work. So we're gonna write it that way, and you can go either way. You can return back just booleans or ints and things like that, or you can return back full objects. It doesn't make a huge difference, and the performance cost for grabbing that is very, very minimal. Dungeon Smasher, no, not usually. The only things they're commonly used for are like recently updated. So like updated dates and things like that. People do like those. It is common for identity columns, which is the ID we are passing back in this case. So that one is very common. It's not a trigger, but the concept is the same. It's something that happens on the database's end. The database decides that number, not the code. I should say not the server code. The database code does. Okay, so we want to take in this repository in our other places similar to this. So we scaffolded this out, and I want to replace these data contexts with this. So we're going to add in the repo, and we're going to get rid of the data context call. Put that here, and then this is getting a tag. So that dot get tag by ID dot value. There we go, and done. And then I'm gonna really quickly just try using all these pages, and I'm betting they're gonna work. Did I copy that? Yes, I did. So we're gonna take this, we're gonna put it right over top of that one again, import the types, add the field, get rid of this, and get rid of that. And I'm going to leave this on my clipboard this time because it's a little bit nicer. So this, again, is just grabbing the first one. So we're going to do repo.get another tag. We're going to pass id.value again. And then down on this one, we're going to do the same thing. So when we go to delete it, it wants to pull it to make sure it really exists before we attempt to delete. That's a good question. Does the Dapper CRUD operation fail if the object's not there, or does it just return back a false? I wish it told me here. Delete a single entity is successful. This documentation does not include the answer to that. Oh, that's a really good idea. So gather. It depends on your data. So in our case, so sometimes you want to delete stuff, sometimes you want to keep it around. It really depends on the circumstance. So sometimes a delete really is a mark as deleted, even if it's not delete. So soft deletes are very common. That is a fantastic question. And SMB, I'm glad you kind of, this keyword is absolutely insane, by the way. Silverlight, hey, welcome. Love your name. If you're required to delete a user because GDPR soft deleting wouldn't be acceptable. Yes, there you go. Fuel Snable chimed in with one. Soft delete's good for some stuff and bad for other stuff. Sometimes you really do want to delete something. And Reverence, hey, welcome. Greetings. Yes, I go by the name Brendan. I'm not sure if I know you, and that's why you're excited about my name being Brendan. Yeah, I don't know. But welcome, maybe I do. Soft deletes, you might end up with lots of deleted rows in the database polluting the indexes. Yes. So part of the challenge with doing that is you can end up with duplicates of things and weird states where you've got a bunch of like deleted stuff that really doesn't need to get deleted. And yeah, Draco, I think S&B is planning on doing some streaming, which is going to be awesome. Stool Penner, I have some dropped frames on this stream, but a very small amount. So at some point I was dropping frames, but I'm apparently not right now. So we'll see. Stuff's deleted because you deleted them. Okay, so since I don't know the answer to that question, what I'm going to do is I'm going to write the code as if it needs the object to actually exist, and it won't tell us on that one. So I'm going to do this. We're going to say tag equals await underscore repo get, and it's going to be get tag and pass in id.value. And we're going to say if it's not null, do that. And it will be repo.delete. And do I need to pass in the object in this case? I will pass in the object here. And no matter what we're deleting down there, I think. I'm actually thinking we ignore the Boolean for now. See if we can skip this. So we're gonna do that for now. Because I believe we can skip that check. I don't think we need to do it. So it seems pointless to me. Yeah, Stolpenner. I'm not seeing them on my end, but that doesn't mean that they don't exist. And welcome, Lucas. And We Flame, greetings. Thanks for those follows, much appreciated. If you are new here, welcome. My name is Brendan. We do a lot of coding here on the stream. All our code is out on GitHub. Feel free to peruse, take a look. If you are interested, you can send us pull requests and the like. And I also should mention to people that we do have a pretty awesome Discord. And a lot of the people talking in chat right now are over in the Discord as well. So you can talk with me and the other people that are here in the chat over there outside the stream. Zunjin, no, your PR was actually really good, so I appreciate it. We did not review it at the beginning of the stream, so I apologize about that. I did mean to, but then started doing some stuff. So you actually sent us this, and I know you got us the changes that we requested. So I will take a look at that and get that in there. Discord is busy at the moment? I don't know what you mean, S&B, but hopefully that's a good thing, whatever it is you mean by Discord being busy. Is this still? Yay! It was still on my clipboard. I didn't pollute my clipboard, so I got to add that. So we're gonna add in this repo here. We're gonna do the same thing in this one. This is the create. We don't need this two calls. We're just gonna say _repo dot insert tag. I don't like this being the object that they can just send directly up to us. That feels weird to me. Oh, people in the Discord are talking about algebra? Well, that's fun. Who doesn't love algebra, right? Such interesting stuff. No, I don't mind algebra. I was just kidding. Yeah, a friend of mine actually posted today that he's starting to look at Unity 3D, to which I mentioned to him that that is on my list of things to mess with in 2019. I want to do some more Unity stuff, and specifically the Unity 3D stuff at some point. I think we're gonna call this like get all or something like that. Get all seems good. Which, yes, I'm aware is gonna end up causing a problem because it's gonna be too many. Ah, good, they called it get all too. Fantastic. So we're going to add get all, which is going to be a task of iList of t? Task of iList of t? Was this an iList? That's an iList. I'd rather return a task of list of t. Get all t, that, and we need the where restriction on this as well, where t is a data entity, just because I want to make sure I've got the same restriction on all of these. And let's put the gets together. So create, read, update, and deletes are all in that order. And now, upon doing that, that should work, even though it doesn't work yet, because it's not actually wired up. But we can take a look. So when I build this, it's going to give me a build error, because I need to go implement it in our other one. Yes, Kappa. Unity 3D, yeah, exactly. Draco, yeah, Unity 3D and Unity 2D and other stuff like that. I do want to mess with Unity. It's been on my list for a long time. A squared B squared equals C squared. Gumshoe, yes, that is correct. Favorite thing to take with is trying to create algebra for forms. Why don't you make iCrud? Sharkdeed! Actually, no. So there's actually some strong reasons for that. And the reasoning is that you can actually use the same repository then to access any type of data that you need. I have done both methods before, and I will just say that I've run into a lot of problems with making the repository itself have that T restriction. It gets kind of messy. So with this, we end up with a little bit of there's a little bit of mess on our declarations of our methods, but it ends up being easier to work with, I find. So get all async, and do I need to to-list this? Get all async T, no restriction. What's the complaint? Oh, the method's not async. Derp. I was like, why is it yelling at me about this? That should just work. What's this return? An IEnumerable. Oh, okay. So in that case, what I have to do is this. I have to list that. There we go. So now that'll work. So essentially we await the collection, and then we're going to make that into a list and return it. There's a good chance that was actually a list to begin with, or an array. Either way, it's a quick conversion to a list to send it back. So there we go. I like returning back like the most useful thing I can most of the time when I'm building an interface for something. And then I like to depend on the least restrictive thing I can within reason. Alright. I think that's everything. Let's try a quick build. I'm going to stop the site just to make sure everything builds. Seems to. And we're going to go ahead and run this and see what we get. Okay. Switch over to here. Rerun the page. Yes, I know my connection is not private. Thank you. The reason it popped that up again is because I did a full refresh, which loses the bit that I've told it that this is safe. Safe. It said it's on my site. So let's create another new one. So I want to do Java. I mean, I don't want to do Java. But you get the point. I want to add this to language Java. Create. Resumes the program in the Java language. Yeah, thanks, SharkDeed. I'm not planning on doing Java. I just want to have it in the list because some people do. So we'll do C++, and again, we'll jump back here and say C++. Create. Oh, you don't like Java? Okay. Well, first off, let's do Python. So we're going to do the same thing here, and there we go. For the Monty language. Oh, bummer. Dang it. Hang on, I messed that up. It's not Monty, it's Python. There we go. Alright, so editing seems to work. And then foo bar and delete foo bar. Sure you want to delete foo bar? Delete. And details of that. Yep, that seems to be there. That seems to be there. Okay, cool. So roughly speaking, that seems to work. Yeah, Java. I love how I mentioned Java and everyone just freaks out about the Java one. There are two good things about Java. It inspired C# and it pays your bills. There you go, Greendolf. There you go. There are a lot of people that very successfully program in Java. There's lots of languages. I don't like bashing languages too much. Just because there are a lot of, like, we give a lot of them flack for all kinds of things. Like, they're good solutions. Did they solve your problem? Awesome. Okay, so switch tag CRUD pages to Dapper. Alright, so that switches all of those pages over to Dapper. Not bad. Yeah, as Greendorf mentioned, tribalism is terrible, but it's also fun. So it does bring people closer together, but it really just makes these like warring camps where like one group just ends up hating the other group for no real reason, because we all seriously learn and get so much from each other. If you are a C# developer, you can thank a lot of other languages for tackling some of the various things that we have to deal with. So that's the great thing, is a lot of the improvements that C# gets come straight from other languages. So everything we've gotten recently is out of functional programming. So a lot of good stuff there. Turbo Pascal, yeah, exactly. Real programmers put double tabs before each semicolon. Thanks, Greendorf. Yeah, there you go. Real programmers. Real programmers. All right. So we've got that switched over. The only thing I don't like about this right now is our tags at the moment use the actual models. Now this is a this page should be restricted so that you have to be like an admin to get to it. We're going to lock down that whole folder, though I haven't yet. We are going to. So everything inside of that folder is going to require that you actually have permission to, administrate this site. So that one, I'm pretty okay with that having those pieces. Let's see if we can switch the channels page, actually. Let's go to the channel details and the channel index. And see... Oh, I didn't add in the channel details yet. We'll go to channel index then, and put this in as well. So instead of having this actual data access right here, we are going to have an iCRUD repository called _repo. And we're going to take in an iCRUD repository named repo. And then down here, we're going to say _repo equals repo. And boom, we have access to that, and goodbye EF. So what's weird here is, see, now we have to tackle how we want to do the includes of the tags when we pull these. So this one actually might need to be more complex than that, because we need more data. So I am actually going to back this one out. We're not going to make that one's change yet, because I don't want to do that one right now. So we won't do that one. Real programmers put a semicolon at the start of a new row. Yeah, exactly, Fuel Snable. I think we've done most of the hard work. Converting the rest should be a breeze. Yeah, exactly. Right only yeah, Greendorf, exactly. Yes, you hit on it precisely. Okay, so we're now at this kind of transitional point in our switch. That we need to figure out how we want to do a couple of things. So I'm gonna go hit the Dapper documentation, because what I want to see is how to describe what I'm looking for. I want to Dapper many to many. Okay, so you have two tables in your server like this. You have left key, right key. Okay. So that's not exactly the one we're looking for. Yes, users and roles. We're not doing that structure, but it's a similar structure. So what's the recommended approach for so query on 3 types? Sure, let's take a look at this and see what we do with it. So let's do this. We're gonna go up here and let's make a folder for the various services, and inside this folder I'm gonna put a class called channel search service, and in it I'm gonna say public list of channel. That's what we're gonna get back, and we're gonna say search. I'm just gonna call it foo for now, because its name doesn't matter. What it does doesn't matter. We want to get back a channel. I need to pull in a using that I'm going to grab from our repo here, so let's just take one of these so I don't have to retype it. So we're going to do that. And while I'm over there, I'm going to steal this as well, because we are going to need to dependency inject in those database settings, so I might as well just pull it. And I see stuff happening in chat, everyone. I will get to those in a second. Delete that. We're going to bring this into here. And I don't want a single one, I want many. So we're going to say channel connection. That is a Dapper query. And first, second, third, fourth, fifth return. Okay, so I can have... Alright, so we're going to have channel tag channel. Okay, so that's how we write it. Ugh. That's weird. Makes sense. I got it. When I work with Dapper's many-to-many syntax is great. Joe Philly, yeah, it actually looks like it, which I think is this. The most secure storage doesn't actually store anything. I don't know, just deletes data. Infected FPS, welcome, thanks for that follow, much appreciated. And greetings, everyone. Thank you for posting all this stuff. Not storing data is the easiest way to be GDR compliant. Fuel stable, that is totally right. Don't store any data and you don't have to worry about it. Psyche Dean, welcome. Hey, I told you I would butcher your name all the time. And greetings, hi. Ace Flameseer, do you notice anything weird? Welcome, by the way. I think that's the first thing you've said today. So greetings, Ace Flameseer. Do you know what I'm talking about, Ace Flameseer? Did you notice anything? I don't know if you did, but there's a cool thing that you might have noticed. Channel tag. Whoops. Channel tag. Curly's on that. return new channel. Let's see. You can take in parameters. Expects identity columns to be named ID. Oh, that's funny. I don't think I need that. So let's just do this. We'll try closing it here. Put that on there. Let's say return await. We'll make this async. I can't call toList anymore because I asynced that unless I do that. Okay, so I don't want to return a new channel. That's not really what we're doing here. What we are going to do is this. We're going to say return channel, because we know that's the return type, but we're going to say channel tag is the tag. We add the channel into the tag like that, and this must get run repeatedly. What is this? What is this? What do they call this? The map. Okay, so that is the map that has that, and then we return back. Since this is a many-to-many, how many instances of that channel do we get back? Maybe it just knows that the ID is the unique key? Query multi-mapping one-to-many. Alright, so how do they do this? Joe Philly, you can override the naming thing using an alias? Oh, yeah, probably. It depends on what you're using it for. But you're totally right. If you're just going to immediately await a thing, then it doesn't really buy you as much. But It's when you want it to be able to be async, but you're like, no, I want this to do that. So, because you can just return the task. So we're going to select that. If it doesn't contain it, then add it to the list. Details, add, return. Splits on order, details, and then, oh, dot distincts. Wonder if I actually have to dot distinct it. That's a good question. I don't know if I do. But I don't know. Either way, let's find out. Maybe we'll get duplicates, maybe we won't. We'll see what happens. If we actually call this, we should find out immediately whether or not this is working. Channel search service, get. I don't know, what did I call it in my other search service? Find, that's fine. Find. And for now, we won't take in any kind of restrictions on, we won't actually pass in the search criteria because we don't have them yet. Because we don't actually, this isn't wired up as a search page yet. It will be. But it's not yet. So if we go back to this page, I can change this to an iCRUD repository that we're going to call repo. And we're going to add that in there, get rid of this. And we're going to try to use it here. Oh, it's not that repo. It's the channel search service. Derp. Derp. And welcome, whoever that was that just followed. Thanks, much appreciated. I will respond in a second once I've got this going. Interface, that. Interface, that. Yep, that's the one. Control Shift R, we are going to we're going to pull that up to the interface. So there we go, that should be on the interface now. There it is, list channel find. When we look back here, we should now have access to that. And before I forget, I'm going to add this to the startup as well, because we don't automatically scan for these. So it is going to be an one of those, which we're going to pass in that one. And we're going to say channel search, find, and that's what it's going to do. And then that hopefully can find them. I think I need to put in the actual query. That's the part that gets me there. Plutonin, yes, I will. And thanks, Joe and S&B for chiming in with that. Ooh, man, Kaors, welcome, thanks for that follow, and I apologize for butchering your name. Let me know and I will try to say that better, because I'm certain I butchered that one. But welcome. Synchronization context, Oh yeah, so one of the main points of async and await is that you're not going and spinning up all kinds of new threads and things like that all the time. So that is actually one of the ways that you used to do it, and it intentionally does not do it the way that we used to. Okay. So we're not gonna do that. So if we call this, it's basically grab all the data off these tables, and deal with the keys and everything our own, and put in our own restrictions for how we use it. Alright. Not a huge fan of this. Let's see, what is this? Channels, probably? Where's my AppDB context? AppDB context, what's it called? Channels, thank you. So there's channels. C, inner join, channel tag, which I'm sure is what that table's called. Maybe there's an S, but I'm going to confirm. And S&B, if you've got a way around writing this SQL, I would love to know it. If not, that's fine. Channel tag, yep, that's what it's called. CT on CT dot channel ID equals C dot ID. Then we're going to interjoin tag, which is probably tags. T on T dot ID equals CT dot tag ID. Yeah, no, but for some of the simple ones, for just pull this thing, you can totally get around writing the SQL S&B. For some of the simple stuff, I do recall there were ways around it. For like I'm pulling a thing based on its ID value, that is so ridiculously simple that we wired that one up for you. Should have the table names all in plural or not? Boxy Baby, yes, they should all be plural. Channel tag is the one that got messed up because of the way that EF Core created it. That's the only reason why. You should pretty much never use a dot result unless you're already awaited the result. Joe Philly is correct. You should never use a dot result. Not saying I never have used one, because I have, only because I didn't want to go back through and fix a bunch of, like, switch everything to async. And yes, there are some other ways to do that. Amade, yes. I love our community here on DevChatter. It's a really, really great group. Okay, so we're going to give this a shot. See if this works. I added that in there. Go to the index CSHTML. We call find. We don't pass any actual restrictions. Let's try it. Here goes nothing. Gonna run the project. Gonna see what happens. Cross your fingers, everyone. That's not the correct thing. Where is it? There it is. Alright, so let's go to all channels, and boom, there we go. Alright. When using the multi-mapping APIs, ensure that you use the split on param if you have keys other than ID. Okay, I do have some keys other than ID. And that is my channel tag ones. Herpaderp. Thanks, S&B. You were on the ball on that one, as usual. So when we do our channel search service, in this, it wants me to use the split on. And for this, whoa, no, it wants me to use a string. So this person that did this did a split on role ID for this one. Users. So they only use it once. So the challenge I've got is that I've got tag ID and I've got channel ID, and I don't know which one it's complaining about. And it could be complaining about either one. Let's try it again and see if that works. What I'm wondering about, so the one I suspect most likely to cause the problem is tag ID, but maybe not. Maybe it's channel ID. Maybe it's both. All right, what do you do when? Dapper query split on. Comma. There we go. It is a comma-separated list. Oh, that's a good question, Fuel Snable. Yeah, you're right. I am probably getting back a weird set that way. Yeah, you might be right. That may cause us a problem. Let me try this and see what happens. As I said, I haven't touched Dapper in years, so I don't remember how these problems get solved. Okay, so we have duplicates, but it looks like everything's here. It looks like it didn't group the tags, but stuff came back. So we clearly got them wired up based on the tags. So everything tagged with C# is here. JavaScript, English, so it sort of worked-ish. Kinda. Almost. It didn't actually group by channel. That did a dot distinct, which is not really what we want to do. Well, I have a one-to-many relationship in this, so... ideally we would group in SQL, but I could group in code, Joe. So if I'm willing to group in code, I can just do that, and that's easy enough because I can just call a group by right before we to-list this and group by the channel ID pulling in the channel. So I would ideally like to do it in SQL, but if I can't, I can pretty easily just do a group by on the channel ID. And do this, and then that gets me a grouping that I could then select off the correct thing based on it. Yeah. Group.key, really what we want to return. Oh, not the key. Derp. I would want to just get the single one by the key at this point. So for each one of these, we don't want to get its key. We want to get the actual value of that key. Kind of thing. Let's just group by channel and not even worry about it. A collection by matching channel, at which point channel needs to be able to tell the difference between channels. SMB, take care. Have a good one. Enjoy the rest of your weekend and the like. Thanks for hanging out. Yeah, sorry everybody, my brain's not functioning all that well right now. And I think, yeah, so have a fuel stable. I think you're probably right. Oh, Joe Philly, you linked at some point, didn't you? Hang on. What's, Turning rows to see select many. Fuel sample. I think you're right. I think I should probably select many on it. Select. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly, Joe. It says stop posting links with a Q. Alright, let's see what Joe's suggesting. Joe's suggesting one of these. Select from the grouping that. Okay, hang on. So Joe's suggesting right here that we select the group, create a new channel, and then create the channel from that. Yeah, I think that'll get weird. I think, I think Fuel Stable was correct. But I don't remember. I'm trying to remember exactly how I'd use it. EF Core is very good. Oh no, we like EF Core. I actually do like EF Core. It does some things very well. We just wanted to try something different on this one, so we're taking a different approach. So we're going to group based on the ID, and then I forget how this works. That's why I said my brain's not working right now. Right. Yeah. That's what, I don't know why it's not functioning today. Sorry about that, everyone. So I want to here group. So I want to select the So I think I do a select many here, and I do a GURP, and I say GURP dot first one that has so that gets us our first item, but it doesn't return back what we want. Yeah, nice, Stool Penner. That was a good one. Mudry, what, hang on, Mudry typed something. I didn't see what it was. I'm not sure I understand the framework, but would you use SQL to select distinct from the channels, rest of your SQL group by, yeah, so we could do some group buying in there if we wanted to. Items, group by item, item order, customer ID, select that, create that. Yeah, I thought it was a link. It's Nightbus not always very smart. Yeah. These are all the ones for the channel. So we want to get this. This is the channel. So let's put this in a... Let's do this for now so we can think it through. We're going to put this in its own little piece here. Oops. So we're going to select, we're going to return that. So that's returning our channel. So we've said, hey, return the channel from this, but we don't want this to be that. This is just the channel object. So that's the channel. Now that we have the channel, we want to say channel.tags should be the channel tag. And this is where the many comes in. So our tags in that case would have to be, we don't select the tags. The tags would be set equal to the group dot select This is our group. We want to select off of the group let's say each dot tags. This is what we select many. We select many the tags, right? Yeah, we're gonna say each. We're not doing that. I don't know what that is. That made an IEnumerable of channel tags. Perfect. Which point we should do that. So assign tags equal to a select many of the channel tags that were in here, and then return that back. That's how you do it. My brain started working again. Hey, all right. What's it say in chat? Because I wasn't reading it for a minute there while I was trying to figure that out. Select many will combine a list of lists, doesn't it? It will. Yes. Basically, it makes the list of lists work. So I would run this in SQL Tool to be able to experiment and see the results. Yes. Yeah, so we'll probably move this into a stored procedure at some point and just have it be in there, and then we'll just call it from Dapper directly, and that'll save us some of this trouble. But for now, we did it this way, and that works fine, which is the goal. You know, working code. Working code is more important than anything else. Oh, do I need to I bet I need to rebuild this. Let's rerun the site. Hey, there we go. That's what I'm talking about. That worked. Select star is going to give you a combined list of all columns from the 3 tables in the join. Yeah, yes, Mudry, we're pulling way too much data back right now. No worries on that. It seems to pull it out nicely, though. Fuel stable. It doesn't matter. Any approach. The point being, move it into SQL instead. Move it into the actual database instead of having it here. So yeah, sorry, fuel stable. That's all I really meant. Working product over comprehensive documentation. Where have I heard that before? I have no idea, Crimson Green. I'm busy promoting specific products and tools as the only way to solve a problem, because clearly I'm going to reverse the Agile Manifesto. That was a joke. I'm not going to reverse the Agile Manifesto. Okay, so let's say basic channel search using Dapper instead of EF core. Awesome. Yeah, it's a good suggestion, Fuel Snable. It is a good suggestion because Dapper will work better with that, and there's some cool tricks that we could do then, so I like it. Oh, a couple of things. So there are certain new people in here, and I would highly recommend anyone who is new here to join our Discord. We have an awesome group of people in our Discord. So it is one of the best ways to chat with me and the other members of DevChatter outside of our regular streams. So also, if you haven't yet, be sure to hit that follow button to make sure that you get notified when we go live. As we do actually stream 4 times a week here on DevChatter. We have been doing this stream for over a year now. We've built a lot of interesting stuff, done some katas, programming exercises, we've done pair programming, we've had guests on for discussion stuff. A lot of fun things, and if you want to make sure that you don't miss those, the best place to do that is clicking the follow button to make sure you get notifications so when we go live. I want to make sure that I thank everybody for coming out today. Sadly, I can't let this one run long as I've got a lot of stuff I have to do, and I've got a sick kid I've got to take care of. Our next stream will be on Monday, and that will be at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. So 2 p.m. Eastern Time is what? That's 1900 UTC. You can find our schedule down below, and you can also, do things like asking the schedule on here. You could say things like this, and our bot will tell you our schedule in various time zones, of which I've posted a few there, and should tell you when we go live. Other things I want to mention. You can find archives of our videos over on YouTube, and I've linked that down. It's linked down below. It's also over there in the chat, youtube.com/devchatter. As I said, there's a year's worth of videos, so you can find cool stuff. I recommend you watch through playlists, because then you can see projects change over time, as that's a nice way to look at it. A couple of other things that I do want to also mention. If you want any cool DevChatter Chatosaurus merchandise, we do have some of that, and it is over in our stores that are linked down below, as well as in the chat. And then the other buttons I want to press on my Stream Deck are ones like this one. Not that button, but this. I want to make sure that I thank everybody for hanging out today. Our moderators, Crimson Green, S&B, and Stool Penner, were the main moderators that I saw hanging out and helping today. I want to thank everyone who followed today. Thank you for supporting this channel, and I look forward to seeing you at future streams. As I said, there's 4 weeks, so there's plenty of times to catch them. And then we had a bunch of subs and resubs. Rubik, Skill, Nikki Boom, Rasmusk DK, Ace Flameseer, Mopsy, Crimson Green, Greendolph, and Twitchloff, as well as I want to thank James, because James gifted some of those subs, so that was awesome. And hey Adrian, I think you were streaming earlier, and thank you for those 43 biddies. I believe you are now the bit leader in the channel, as you have overtaken Carrie, who went with the answer. So you've done answer +1. And I look forward to seeing all of you on Monday. Have a great rest of your weekend. Happy coding. Seriously, if you join our Discord, you can chat with us about different stuff you want to work on. So especially if you're a newer developer, I recommend it. There are a lot of friendly people over there. You've probably figured that out from our chat. And it's a good group. And let me know if anyone wants to contribute to our projects. If you are interested in contributing to any of our GitHub projects, that is the best place to collaborate with us, because you can ask questions of me or anyone else about how to contribute. So if you haven't contributed to an open source project before, I highly, highly recommend that it doesn't even have to be mine, but I recommend that you do your first contribution with a Twitch streamer. And the reason why is that you can actually talk with them, you can get feedback, unlike when you just send it off to the void, and you can't actually interact really with the person that makes the change. So you can find out and get some help with that. So it really, really does help. It makes it a much easier process. So either way, thanks for hanging out, and I exactly, thanks, Adrian. Yeah, that is the idea. It's much easier to make a contribution when you can actually talk and interact with the person you're sending that contribution to. So anyway, yeah. I don't think if there's any. Where do we want to? Yeah. Okay. Well, either way, have a great rest of your weekend. I was looking around, Adrian, and I don't see any good rating places to send everybody right now. So I didn't see you live or anyone else. So I have a list. I don't send off to random places, but I maintain a list of people that have like rated or hosted or anything of me, and I go and I try to check out their channels. I try not to send everybody to a channel I haven't seen before. So I want to actually be able to. Yeah, exactly. I like to send to some place. Because rating someone is kind of like a confirmation of, yeah, I think you're gonna like this, and I don't do a random one. I make sure I've seen their channel first. So anyway, take care, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I will see you on Monday, or Tuesday if you can't make it Monday, but hopefully you can. Later.